Tyreek Hill has hit X, aka Twitter, to let the world know that he potentially wants out again. Now, there's some gray area here, reading between the lines. Tyreek Hill trying to troll the media that could potentially be at play here, and maybe he comes back and says, you guys don't believe anything, I don't want out, whatever. But the bottom line is he's already requested a trade, backed off that comment when he was being asked, hey, Tyreek, are you coming back? And he's like, basically no. And then he walks it back. And what did I tell you when he walked it back? The team may have talked to him and said, look, you do that, we can't trade you. If you take away all of our power to trade you by saying you want out, it makes it look like we're desperate and we need to just get rid of you for anything, for pennies on the dollar. So I did believe, and I said this over and over, that Miami's still going to try and trade him potentially, but they needed Tyreek to calm down. Tyreek has hit the X again. It kind of stemmed off of this right here. Probably Tyreek Hill could be traded as a potential, player that could be traded on draft day or right around draft day. And Tyreek Hill put a deuces, a peace sign, and then he put another couple posts somewhere else. They're all over the place. But anyway, we're here discussing Tyreek Hill, and there was another image somewhere. Let me see if I can find this. I think it was a smiley face that he put up on there's not that one, it's somewhere in here. We'll go over it. I'll find another clipping of him putting a enjoying, excited, please satisfied emoji when someone said Tyreek Hill could get traded. Like Tyreek Hill getting traded, oh, happy face. Like he's on Twitter making chaos, making waves, trolling everybody. But you don't do that if you're happy. You don't do that if you want to stay put. He clearly wants out. Clearly. The Fantasy Football Show Tyreek Hill emergency live stream begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
So Tyreek Hill apparently wants out again based on numerous peace signs, smiling emojis, satisfied emojis. Hey, you want to trade me? Great emoji type of content on X. Again, something he could just come back a day or two later and say, I'm trolling you. You guys don't believe anything. Hard to know, but we got to talk about it because this is now the second time he's engaged in trade me conversation, whether it just be peace signs and acknowledgement of people saying, should Tyreek Hill be traded? It's still an endorsement of the idea. Even if you're trolling, it's a bad look. It's not good. You wouldn't be doing that. You wouldn't be doing that if you were happy where you are. And keep in mind, similar to when someone's impaired, sometimes the way they act is sometimes a true distinction or true representation of how they really feel. It's just they don't have any walls or reservations about letting people know. Tyreek Hill, when he's emotional, is in a sense in that type of state of mind where he'll let you know exactly how he feels. Then when he calms down, he'll say, maybe I didn't handle that right. But at the end of the day, where there's smoke, there's fire. He wanted out months ago, saying, I'm done. Are you coming back? No, I'm out. I'm out of here. Doesn't want to be in Miami anymore at all. Why? Because he wasn't getting the ball. Why? He doesn't really probably believe in Tua anymore. What we told him about Tua, he didn't believe us when we told him he was nowhere near Patrick Mahomes. But for some reason, he went to Twitter, and said that Tua is more accurate than Patrick Mahomes. And we all laughed. We had a good laugh. We joked around about it. But this guy clearly believed it. Now, no one's saying Tua's a garbage quarterback. He can get the ball facilitated, but he's clearly an injury risk. And when he goes down, this offense is completely held in check, frozen in time, can't do anything. Now, hopefully bringing in Bobby Slowick, OC from Houston, who got fired as a scapegoat last year, who could have got a job as a head coach almost anywhere the year prior, but he decided to stay one more year. He was the Ben Johnson of 2023. Coming out of the 2023 season, Bobby Slowick could have had any job he wanted. But like Kingsbury this year, like some coaches do, they stay put one more year. And Ben Johnson went off. Obviously, he's head coach over in Chicago. Bobby Slowick could have done the same thing. He waited 1 year. They fired him. He's talented. I like what he could bring to the table to the quarterback situation in Miami. Neither here nor there. This guy obviously has been up and down on whether he believes he can survive at his older age with maybe 1 or 2 more years left. And he's hinted at retirement before, saying that, and this is about like this year, next year is when he hinted he might be retiring. He's got very little time left. He's got maybe this 1 year left of potential, a little bit more watered down elite play. He could. We don't really know how much the wrist injury had to do with last year's debacle. What we do know, though, we have a little bit of evidence that Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphin quarterback situation as a whole didn't produce for anybody. So in a way, Tyreek Hill has a bit of an excuse to say, did anybody do well? Especially when Tua went down, did anybody do well? Did even Achane do as well as he could have? No, the entire offense went flat. He has a good gripe. I think his case to be made, hey, I want out, I want to go, I got 1 year left, I want to go flourish somewhere. It's an understandable case, but he's a dramatic drama queen, and he made his own bed and chose to leave KC when they were going to pay him right about exactly the same amount. There were some tax advantages to go to Miami, so he took those tax advantages on the same offer. I think KC actually offered him a little bit more money, but the amount of taxes he'd save made it so he'd make more money making less in Miami, so that's why he went to Miami. And he even said that in an interview. Someone said, hey, what about the advantages? And he goes, oh man, I didn't even think of that. Trade me. Like he wanted more money. This guy's a mess. And I understand him wanting to go somewhere. I do. And I understand that we have some evidence that suggests that it wasn't maybe his fault because no one did well in Miami. But I don't know. I don't know where he could go. Where could he get traded? What's it do for Jalen Waddle's value? What's it do for Tua in the entire offense? What's it do for Achane? Is it good for Achane? Is it bad for Achane? Would Tyreek Hill have done anything anyway? Is he already washed? These are all very good questions that I think a lot of us don't know the answer to. I think it's very easy to say, oh, if Tyreek Hill leaves, Waddle goes up. Does he? Was Tyreek Hill going to do much anyway? Was Tyreek Hill going to keep defenses a little bit honest and let Waddle, the younger, maybe more equipped wide receiver right now to handle a full season? Maybe he would have done better with Tyreek Hill making defenses think he was going to be the guy they needed to contain. I don't know that Waddle just skyrockets from this. I think Waddle's got a problem staying healthy. I think Waddle's never been, a true number one wide receiver. He has in spots, of course. I think it's probably better for Waddle than it is Tua, obviously. You got Tyreek Hill leaving. Tua loses a potential weapon. Again, we don't know how valuable Tyreek would have been. But Waddle probably sees more targets, I imagine. Will he be as efficient? I don't know. Hard to say. Is Achane going to be affected? I don't know. I don't think this will necessarily have a negative effect on Achane, but I think the better this offense is, the more efficient everybody is. Similar to Achane last year. Achane was a top 5 running back, but there were a string of games where he wasn't efficient. He wasn't his efficient self. Achane could get less work and score more fantasy points if they're an efficient offense. I would rather Achane get dialed back from last year's usage and he'll outscore last year's scoring. He will be better on way less work if the offense is humming and it's getting near the goal line. And Tyreek Hill not being there makes me feel at least that they'll be slightly less able to get near and live near the goal line in the red zone. So I don't know. I don't think it hurts Achane much. I think that it makes some others doubt Achane a little more, which will be good because that will package in any kind of concern I have. I think the knee-jerk reaction by the majority will overcompensate or overreact, and then my ability to scoop Achane up in the consistent top of round 2 territory makes me smile like a kid in a candy store. So I'm excited about second round Achane. And Achane's already been slipping to like the 1-2 turn, like 12, 13, 14. I think now, or if he gets traded, and even on the speculation, on the spec alone, that Hill gets traded, maybe Achane goes from 11, 10, 11, 12, 13 to like, for sure, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's fine. That makes me like Achane as much. Even on a little bit of concern, packaged in, baked in, not worried about baked in value whatsoever. Ever. Tyreek Hill, where's he go if he does get traded? Will the Miami Dolphins even, toy around with this, or do they say no? Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to hold out? What are you going to do? This isn't going to do anything. Hold out then. What are you going to hold in? I don't know. They may not even budge. We don't know. But Hill could be trolling us yet again. But it's all over. Everybody wants to talk about it. Here we are talking about it. I'm not sitting here saying we know a whole lot. But this is fresh, breaking. No one's live right now talking about this. We do. We go live when news break.
Let's go, mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy.
We go live when news breaks. No one else goes live like we do. They just don't do it. Not a lot of info to go on. Let's go to the phone lines. I turn to you.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I turn to you. What do you guys think? Because I get phone lines are loading right now. I'm sorry. The phone line was down. Go ahead, dial in now. I get that we're going to have mixed reactions on this. Let's wait and see. Sure. I'm accepting of that. Do I think that the best ball world waits and sees? No. I think they react. I think they react on Waddle a little bit. I think they react on Achane a little bit. They react on Tua a little bit. Jonnu a little bit. So in recap, it's kind of an up and down. It kind of throws everybody's values around. Achane, people will perceive his value to go down. Again, I'm not saying that it necessarily does go down. They'll perceive it to go
Stock
down.
on decline.
Waddle will be perceived
Stock
to
on
go
the
up,
rise.
but I don't necessarily agree with that. Tua will go down
Stock on
if,
decline.
an ADP on the spec, and I agree with that. Jonnu will go up
Stock on the
on
rise.
speculation. I'll agree with that. But Achane, I hope everybody
Stock on decline.
thinks he's on the decline, and then we scoop him up, at more than compensating for the risk territory. Like Achane becoming, I've noticed him become a, not staple in round 2 yet, but a frequent flyer in the 13, 14, 15 territory. The other day I got Neighbors and Achane. The other day I got Lamb and Achane. And I've never done that. The entire offseason on Underdog, promo code Smitty they'll give you up to $1,000 in bonus credit by hitting this promo code. The link's in the description. I just pinned it in the live chat right now. Go draft Achane right now. See where you can get him and report back. So do a draft, a 2025 draft. Do it now. I've never in the entire offseason got Lamb or Neighbors with Achane. And I've been doing it. I did it last night twice. I got Lamb Achane, Neighbors Achane. And I have a feeling that if I draft in the 10, 9, 10, 11, 12 territory, I'm going to get that quite frequently. And that's good. That's good news. Travis, you're live. Travis? The phone line. This happened last time. He was missing for a second, then he came flying in. Let me see if I can set something up. I might need to use the old phone line trick and hack. I don't know. He should be there. What about Bruce? Bruce, you there? Let me set up the speaker here. I don't know why it does that. sometimes when I don't reboot my computer, the phone line needs to have a little bit of support. Travis, are you there? Hello? Good God, man. Let's see here. All right.
I'm going to call back in.
There, Travis, go ahead. I think I got you on the Bluetooth at least. What's up? Or Bruce?
I think Travis.
Yeah. Let me add him back. Hold on. Travis, you left right when the Bluetooth speaker turned on, but go ahead. You're live.
Okay, you hear me now?
Yeah, I mean it's good enough.
I think Johnny would benefit the most because we saw what
Stop
he did.
on the rise.
He was like a focal point last year. But unless they're really convinced that Tua is going to stay healthy, which I don't know how they can. Aside from just getting rid of Phillips malcontent, I don't think it helps the team at all. He's even like 80% of what he was that he's on the team.
Yeah.
Plus, it's just their technical. Right. Well, because he's going to start complaining about contract soon too, because he's out after this year of the contract.
I mean, I guess you got to ask yourself, like, what can this team do at 13? And is Tyreek Hill involved in some sort of trade up? You know, let me just throw something at you as a Patriots fan. If I offered you Tyreek Hill and 13 for 4 and something small, would you do that?
No. If they didn't have Diggs, maybe, but I'm not too keen on putting those two in the locker room. As much as I get.
Imagine Hill and Diggs in the same locker. Can you imagine you asked the question that? Can you imagine you asked the question that the Vikings were asked by a reporter one time, like, who would you least like to date your sister? And the entire Vikings room was like, Diggs, Diggs, Diggs. I want no Diggs nowhere near my sister. Can you imagine asking that question in the Patriots locker room with Diggs and Tyreek Hill in it? Like, who do you want to date your sister least? They're like, their brain would explode. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, Miami could take. Well, hold on one second. Miami could take Mbuka. Miami could take Mbuka. They could take Ted McMillan. Ted McMillan's, falling down a lot of draft boards. And I was gonna go live on the Ted McMillan stuff before this broke. I was like ready to go live on it for those that want to know what I'm talking about. Ted McMillan. He said this wasn't actually yesterday. It's just people were reporting on it yesterday. But weeks ago, he made a comment when he was interviewed on a podcast, I think, where they said, "Do you watch football?" And he said, Ted McMillan said, "No, I don't watch football." They're like, "You don't watch football? Do you watch film?" And he's like, "No." They're like, "Do you like watching?" He's like, "I don't even like watching film. I don't like watching football. I don't like watching film." He said he watched it a little bit with his, wide receivers coaches or his teammates in the wide receiver room. But he's like, he doesn't like it. He doesn't enjoy it. And so it's kind of going viral right now. It's also dropping his perceived draft stock quite a bit. And everyone's saying, and it's true, it's going to cost him millions of dollars potentially by making that stupid comment. And even if you kind of like have an aversion to it, you can't say that. You can't say that. And so we'll talk about Ted McMillan. I'll do a video on it probably today. I was going to go live on it, but I'll probably just do an upload now. I've been doing uploads on all the rookie profiles anyway. I just thought it was good news, breaking news in a sense, because everyone's talking about it and everyone's wanting explanations. Whenever I get bombarded with DMs, like, what do you think about Tet? What do you think about the Tet comments? It's like, I know that people are craving that live stream. So I was going to go live on it, but then Tyreek Hill decided to steal the show. But point is, Ted McMillan could fall, and rightfully so, to 13. You don't know. He totally could have. Buka could be here. So Miami could trade Tyreek Hill, get a piece that helps this offense. They'd be smart to trade for Joe Milton while they're on top of that, just to get the quarterback room under control in case something happens. But this wouldn't be that bad if Buka or Ted McMillan landed in Miami and they got something out of Tyreek Hill. That could be a way to solve this problem if you're Miami. And Egbuka's exciting. He'd be really good in that Tyreek Hill spot. I think Ted McMillan, I don't know if, I'm not saying that Ted and Waddle are the same receiver. They certainly play a little different, but I think that kind of clashes. I think you want a Egbuka and you want a Waddle but either way, it would be good. But anyway, BBQ dropping hold on one second, Travis. I'm sorry. BBQ dropping a $10 holler says last year showed the decline in his game, and McDaniel decided to feed Jonnu. Achane will continue to benefit if they keep Cheetah wash up Cheetah running as a decoy. Probably. Let me just address BBQ's comment, because I think there's two things going on here. Let's say Tyreek Hill stays. He didn't prove he was anything near his old self last year. Nothing. Like, we didn't see a sliver of Tyreek Hill last year. That was a long time. That was a whole season. And he's older. Ziggy, how old is Tyreek Hill? Tell the people.
Tyreek Hill is 31 years old. March 1st, 1994.
Just turned 31 this month. Happy birthday, Tyreek. Just turned 31, but 30 is the year of decline. So, for wide receivers, not that it always happens, but it's the year to be like mindful that 30 is where you see a big difference. That happened. Cooper Kupp, in his 30-year-old season,
Stock on decline.
went down. He fell off his 30-year-old season. I'm not saying Kupp can't rejuvenate a little bit. I like Kupp at his ADP and everything, but he fell off. The Kupp we knew was gone and has never returned since his 30-year-old season. Tyreek Hill was 30 years old. He just turned 31. Was turned 30 last year.
Stock on decline.
He vanished. So, like, I know that there are outliers. I get that. Devontae Adams is one of those outliers, 32 years old. They happen. Derrick Henry's an outlier for running back, but 28 years old is the same as 30 for a wide receiver, even if there are outliers. And picking those outliers it's a tough business. So you can try it and you can land it once in a while. No one's saying you can't find one, but it is a mathematical, statistical certainty that it's very hard for a 30-year-old wide receiver to play at his elite self level, his highest level. He's declining. Maybe you're catching him at a slow decline. That's great. Adams is on a very slow decline. Awesome. You found one. But the odds are firmly against you. So Tyreek Hill vanishing last year, to BBQ's point, we're either seeing a guy that is completely dropped off and we're just trying to make sense of it, hang on to it, when him leaving doesn't even do anything. Him staying might actually, in some ways, hamper the offense, or he could be used as a decoy and it could help. So if he is washed, I don't really know that we can sit here and go with a straight face, oh, Achane goes down. Oh, Waddle goes up. Like, Tyreek Hill didn't do anything last year. Like, so how is that even like a thing? Now, there's the wrist. What if his wrist injury was a big deal? To me, that doesn't even make sense, because when you watch Tyreek Hill footage, his wrist isn't hampering him. He's not dropping balls or anything, and his wrist isn't going to have him not get out of his breaks. But when you watch film, I don't necessarily see a receiver that's not quick. So I'm torn when I look at Tyreek Hill and I say, he's not having trouble getting out of his breaks. He's still ultra fast. This offseason, like a month ago or so, maybe a month and a half ago, he set the world record for running around the diamond in baseball. And he's quick. He's still quick. So in a way, I'm like, I don't blame him for wanting out if he feels like he still has it. And maybe he has one more year because he isn't getting the damn ball. But then you say to yourself, wouldn't a diva like Tyreek Hill complain all year long? He was nonchalant about everything. He didn't care he wasn't getting the ball. You didn't hear a word from him until the season was over. So, like, none of this makes sense. I can't with a straight face tell you I know that he's washed, or I know that he's not washed, or that I know that even if he wasn't washed last year, this is the most important point. Get ready to have your mind blown. Maybe Tyreek Hill could have balled out last year, didn't because of Tua and the Miami Dolphins, but is this year's drop-off year anyway, and now we'll never know. Like, that's the problem. 30 was tough enough to go into that year and ball out. Whether it was his fault or not, it was a wasted year. What if, no matter what happened last year, this is his drop-off year? So it's unfortunate that we'll never know. And if he does have a bad year this year, we'll assume that last year was for sure him. and not the situation, and we'll never know. So it's an enigma, really, at the end of the day. And I'll say this, I'm not banking on Tyreek Hill at all. Not changing teams. Where's he go? Was it his wrist? Was it his talent? And even if it wasn't, will that his age of 31 take him out this year? Even if all of it could be explained last year, I want nothing to do with second to third round turn value when I can get Bucky, Kyren, Breece Hall. I know a couple times I did. I was flirting with the idea in the offseason. I admit it. Like a month ago, I was like, kind of like Tyreek Hill at the bottom of 2. I don't anymore. It is what it is. It changes. I'm a evolving man. I'm adjusted, adapt. I try things out. Never really loved my teams with it, but I tried it. I will never, ever take Tyreek Hill over Bucky, Hall, or Kyren, or JD5, or Josh Allen ever again. Unless I auto draft on accident. I will never take Tyreek Hill over those guys, which means I will never own Tyreek Hill ever again. Go ahead, Travis.
No, I was just going to, obviously, obvious thing to see, but ADP for me is a problem. I'll never own him for that reason either, because I think as long as he's healthy and there isn't something we're missing here, I think he can still be a top 15 wide receiver.
Good.
But he just falls off the story too. ADP way too high.
Yeah, you can't even flirt with it. Yeah, I mean, if he fell, someone said I'll take him at the 3-4 turn. Oh, yeah, so would I. I'd be back, but his value's never fallen there. Someone said, what if he goes to catch with Josh Allen? That would be intriguing for sure, but I still wouldn't take him over Josh Allen. I still wouldn't take him over Bucky, over Hall, over Kyren. Now, if when I say I'll never own him again, that's on the assumption that he doesn't fall into the 3-4 turn or the 4th round. If he was a 4th rounder, I would reconvene. But my educated guess is he will not be a 4th round.
It was like the Debo situation.
Yeah. Yeah, Debo in the 3rd round I wouldn't take, but Debo as my 3rd drafted wide receivers win a league. Who else is on the line right now? Brucey.
No, Bruce was.
Bruce, you're live.
Hey, Smitty.
It's your time to shine, pal.
Unfortunately for us drafting now with his ADP, I think it's a little too high. But depending on where he goes, it could also go higher or lower. In my opinion,
of course.
Thinking this way?
No, I mean he goes to Buffalo.
He can go higher if he.
Yeah, he gets traded to Buffalo, Bruce. He's going to go in the 2nd round, locked. And while I'll be more intrigued for sure, like even my value of Hill goes up, it's still going to proportionally go up. So if I've got him in the 4th round right now and everybody else has him in the 2nd or the bottom of the 2nd, and he goes to Buffalo, he goes up to the mid 2nd, and my 4th round value maybe creeps into the bottom of 3 or mid 3rd, but I'm still way behind that line, way behind, which means I'll never own him.
Right.
The only way I could own him is if his perceived value in the eyes of everybody drops to where my value is, and I don't know how that can happen. Because if he gets hit with any other negative news, he drops even further for me. So there's no way the people are going to catch up to my doubt. It's just going to be a proportional higher and lower where I'm just too far away from the ADP proportionally. No matter what the news is, I'll never own him. Go ahead, Bruce.
What do you think New Orleans would ever be in on him?
If they were, that'd be the worst place. That'd be worse than Miami. What's he gonna do there? I mean, that Derek Carr gives you what, 4 games before he gets injured? Like, Rattler. What's Rattler proved?
Or could kill another wide receiver.
Yeah, no. Why does New Orleans always come up? I don't know if it's always Bruce. Maybe it's always Bruce is the culprit. But why does New Orleans come up as a? Why do people use New Orleans as a good landing spot for things? Everyone's like, what about New Orleans? What do you mean, what about New Orleans? And when people say it about a wide receiver especially, what are you talking about? The only, Genty going to New Orleans is interesting. But it's still not where it's not where I want him the most. But I don't know, Bruce, you're not the only one. People use New Orleans like it's some great landing spot. I get Kellen Moore's there, but good God, you have Derek Carr.
Well, that was one thing I was going to say. They're both injury prone, Tua and Derek, but I think Tua's worse than Derek.
I don't know about that, man.
I don't know.
A BBQ dropping 20 gifted memberships. You know what's better than Derek Carr and Tua? BBQ, because he keeps dropping wads all over the place. 20 gifted memberships. Everybody drop a BBQ emoji. He's got his own emoji for a reason. Please use it. Yeah, Bruce, I don't know about that. I mean, we're talking about which piece of turd is better than the other piece of turd. Like Tua can like Tua. Yeah, Tua can have like 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns passing. Carr's going to give you 3 or 4 games before he's injured. Before his mascara wears off his face and he can't see. It gets in his eyes and he starts throwing picks, bro. I don't know.
Well, you would think they're going to have
Yeah, Tua can sling it. He's just not a winning quarterback. He's not a Super Bowl, kind of guy. He's not bringing, and he can't stay healthy like Tua. But I think Tua stays healthy longer than Derek Carr. I think you send Tua out there with a blindfold, he'll stay healthy longer than Derek Carr in the pocket. Oh man, I don't know. Derek Carr, I don't understand the Derek Carr thing. That's why New Orleans is so bad. Because they think Derek Carr's fine. Like, no, Derek Carr, we're gonna swing around and rally around Derek Carr. That's why New Orleans is New Orleans right now. I think they can still run the ball. Look at Kamara. He still had a good, so I'm okay with Genty there. I think they could, build an entire team around Kamara or Genty. And then they could, but I don't love it because Kamara's still there. It's not a great 2025 landing spot. It's a good one because I think Genty will get his. I think Kamara will, unfortunately, no matter how good he's been, he will let Genty take over, but he'll be in the way enough that I say, give me LV, give me Washington, give me another location. But do I want Genty in New Orleans over Chicago? I know a lot of you Chicago people don't understand. You think it's all hatred. I would rather have him in New Orleans. I mean, we've seen Kamara be very effective for years. And so it's a great running back environment. But I don't trust Chicago. I don't care how good this looks right now. Keep in mind, for all you Chicago believers out there, and you think I'm just a Chicago hater and a Caleb hater, stop with the what's going to happen thing. Because every single one of you that are saying, Smitty, Ben Johnson's there, they've rebuilt the offensive line, you were the same people that came to me over and over and over and said, this is the best situation a rookie quarterback has ever been handed. Ever been handed. No rookie QB's ever been gifted this beautiful situation. He might be a top 5 QB. What happened? So how do you have any authority or any sort of trust value with me when you come in and tell me, Ben Johnson and they rebuilt the offensive line with some old guys that some teams didn't want, maybe they're dropping off. That's the best situation ever. So no, I don't want Genty in Chicago. And if that doesn't compute for you, you can call in and argue with me, but you're not gonna win. You're not gonna win me over. I don't want Genty in Chicago. If he goes there, look, Genty's Genty. I'm gonna believe in him. I'm gonna support him. I think he'll do what he needs to do, but is he going to be the best version of himself in Chicago versus, let's say, LV versus New Orleans versus Denver, especially if they trade up, or Washington if somehow they trade up? No, I don't want Genty. I don't want Genty in Chicago. I just don't. Zerby with the super chat says $5 holler. Can you split hairs for me? Redraft PPR keeper league, pick one. Bijan or Gibbs. Go watch my top 10 running back video, bro. You'll see that it's neck and neck. I probably lean Gibbs a tiny bit, but I literally waver in the video. I literally waver. It's so weird to me that you go to most of these like content creators and shows, and they have like their running back rankings set and cemented. They're like, he's my running back 6. It's like, you ask me one day, he's my running back 6, he's my running back 4, he's my running back 5. So you ask me, depends on what hour of the day you ask me which running back Bijan or Gibbs, and it fluctuates. I can't have that set in stone. Nobody can. And if you do, you're just sticking to your Excel sheet. There's no way somebody's your running back 10 for weeks on end, or you just don't even look at anything. You just do a projection calculation and you just leave it put. This I could waver on all day long. Give me Gibbs because the man had 4 touchdowns in his last game. But Bijan had 2 touchdowns in back-to-back games. Penix Jr. is going to open up everything. Defenses won't know what hit him. I love both of them. Give me Gibbs, but barely. If Monty is healthy, does it really hurt Gibbs? No, it doesn't hurt Gibbs at all. Monty has nothing to do with Gibbs. Nothing, Zerby. It's irrelevant. It's not even a consideration. If anybody thinks Monty hurts Gibbs, they don't watch this channel. Monty has nothing to do with it. Let's see here. Gibbs, but Penix looked good.
If I may comment on that,
yeah,
Smitty,
go ahead, Bruce.
I think Ben Johnson's leaving hurts Gibbs more than Monty.
It could. It could. But when people say things like Monty, what about Monty? What about Monty? Monty was. What are we talking about? Not to mention Monty's an injury concern. Not to mention Monty, somebody's got to run the ball 200 to 240 times a season outside of Gibbs's workload. If they run the ball 470 times, and what do we want Gibbs to run? Realistically, of the 470 carries that get taking place in Detroit, we want Gibbs getting 240 max, right? Because we want him catching like 70 balls, right? So we go 470 minus 240. We need a running back to carry the ball 200 to 230 times a season. That needs to be Monty. If it's not Monty, it's some fresh young rookie. Like, do we understand that we got to pick our poison? We got to sleep in the bed that we make. And if we say, oh, we want Monty gone, they're bringing somebody in because someone needs to run the ball 200 to 230 times. It's wild to me. And Zerby, I'm not mad at you. I appreciate your super chat. I'm just emphasizing that anybody that says Monty affects Gibbs doesn't know football. Unfortunately. Okay, go ahead. Mr. T dropping a 5 gifted memberships. Mr. T doing it live. Mr. T, and then BBQ dropping 20. I appreciate you both. You guys are monsters. Go ahead, Brucey. You were saying something.
Oh no, I said that I think Ben Johnson leaving affects Gibbs more than Monty.
Yeah, it could. I also Penix Jr. going in, as Zerby said in his comment, it's kind of like Bijan has only good news. And so, his stock is 1,000% on the decline. You could say that Gibbs is right where it was, and maybe there's some concern, so I get that. So I'm fine with it. Like I said, I waver back and forth, bro. When I did that running back ranking video and we talked about Bijan, I was like, after we got through with it, I was like, how in the hell am I supposed to not love this man, Bijan Robinson? Oh, this is 2023 stats. I got to find that. Damn it. I thought I saved that 2024 one. I'll have to put it back up. But when we went through it and we're like, he had 3 straight games with 2 touchdowns rushing. Penix Jr. just opened up everything. Penix Jr. being able to run around. You've got the defense spying him because he's a running quarterback, whether people want to believe it or not. And he's an absolute surgeon on the field. So when you're at like the 10-yard line, let's say, and you had Kirk Cousins. The defense was laughing. They're like, okay, let's stack the box. Kirk's not going to score. Kirk's not going to run it in. Kirk's not going to throw it in. You shorten the field on Kirk. He especially can't score. Kirk Cousins had in his final 5 games, he had 4 straight games, I believe, with 0 touchdowns. And then his 5th game, he scored 1, and then he got benched. 1 touchdown in 5 games. Defenses laugh at Kirk Cousins. So they're at the 10-yard line. Kirk Cousins, nice try. Nice try, Kirky. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to stop Bijan. And then Bijan would run, get stuffed. And we blame Bijan. And we're like, well, just confusing. Penix Jr. comes in, and now all of a sudden defense is like, holy shit, we got to spy Penix. We got to worry about him throwing these laser missiles and dots into the end zone for London, for Kyle Pitts. This guy can throw a dot anywhere. And now all of a sudden, Bijan's got this wide open A gap, wide open B gap, wide open rushing lanes, wide open receiving lanes. Bijan to the moon. So I did the Bijan introduction when we started doing the top 10 running backs, and I said, how can this guy not be my number one? Then we get to Gibbs. I'm like, holy crap. And we're looking at Gibbs, reminding us of all the greatness Gibbs did. Gibbs scored 4 TDs in his final game. He scored a touchdown. I forget what he had in the playoffs. It was a touchdown. He looked remarkable. Gibbs had what, 20? Was it 20 total touchdowns on the year? Let me pull it up.
Remember, you said 20 total touchdowns.
And the fact that people bring up, I still don't understand why people bring up Monty. They bring it up like they're coming up with some like brand new take that hasn't been shot down on this channel over and over and over. And Zerby, I'm not mad at you. I'm passionate about the question. Monty, how's Monty coming up? Monty missed what, 4 games on the year? 4 games. He missed only 4 games, and I expect him to miss 4 games. And this man had 14-12, 5-17, 4 receiving, 16 rushing, 20 total touchdowns, 5.6 yards per carry. This man's going to catch, if Monty stays healthy, this man's 52 receptions goes to 70. Like, there's no losing touches. Monty's a nothing burger. That doesn't mean I don't like Monty at his cost of entry. That's a whole different conversation. I love Monty at his cost of entry. I think Monty's a really good player to pick at his cost of entry. But he's a nothing burger when it comes to evaluating Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay, let me go back to Travis real quick. And if anybody else wants to call in, here's the number.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Monty. Go ahead, Travis.
Hey, sorry, I was just checking up on something. The chat there. Does Bruce have anything? Or if you want to come back, looking into something.
Yeah, no, I'll just say this, and then Bruce, if you have anything else, you can definitely chime in. I just to wrap up on this Tyreek Hill conversation. Somebody said, when did he request a trade? He didn't request a trade. He has said through numerous actions that he wants out of Miami, and he did since back off the most recent one before today. But as you can see in front of you, he's engaging in troll actions that may or may not be true to what he wants, but it's not healthy for the team. They've already, I'm assuming, addressed this man saying stop with asking for a trade. If you want to trade, we'll figure it out, but you start taking away our leverage if you start saying you're out and we have to get rid of you. And so for him to, even if he is trolling everybody, engaging on Twitter with this whole peace sign, happy smiling emojis. I'll see if I can find the other graphic that I had where he put up I think it was right here. Yeah. So right here, this is a different tweet or post on X from David, whatever his name is, Finn's Nation. Would you be open to trading Tyreek Hill? This is a question being posed, and they're probably trying to bait Tyreek. And Tyreek's very easy to bait because he loses his temper, he gets emotional, and he puts this like smiling emoji. Now that could be that he's saying like laughing, you guys are ridiculous. But when you couple it with his other responses of like peace signs, like I'm out of here, when he basically said I'm out when he was interviewed the first time and requested a trade essentially through his actions, it was very much in line with the peace sign like tone, like I'm out. He said, I'm out. Peace sign means out. And so he's very much mirroring all of his same, you could say, tone with these peace signs. It's not like you could say, well, he's just saying I'm out of the conversation. No, he said specifically when interviewed by somebody when he did want to trade, I'm out. So all this is stirring the pot for sure. Could he be trolling everybody? Yeah, but he clearly is unhappy, or he wouldn't be messing around with this stuff. And so who knows what's going on? We don't know for sure. There's no official trade request, and he could come out tomorrow and say, I'm just trolling you all again. But it doesn't look good, and it doesn't feel good, and it certainly has vibes that he's unhappy. Okay, let me...
Mike, unless you have someone else on the line.
Yeah, I got two people here real quick. Two people real quick, and I'll come back to Travis. John, you're live.
Hey, Smitty, thanks for the phone call. And that last guy, super chat, I'm not sure if you read it, but he wanted to know whether or not you had Nico over A.J. Brown in his same format. So that was that guy's question at the end. I don't know.
Zerbies? I'm sorry.
And my other question is, what's it going to take for Tyreek Hill to get out of there given his current contract, and where's your preferred destination for him?
I don't know, bro.
That's what I was going to bring up to.
Zerby, Zerby, sorry I didn't answer this. Is Zerby still out there? Zerby, Nico over AJ Brown. Yeah, by I don't want to say quite a bit, but I would say I'm drafting Nico in round 1. I'm never drafting AJ Brown in round 1, but I do like AJ Brown in round 2, so it's not like I'm a hater of AJ Brown. But Nico's got a higher ADP. He's a lock in round 1 for almost anybody. So Nico. Could AJ Brown outscore Nico in 2024 alone? If we're talking redraft, it's possible. It's not crazy. And then Hill for Ayuk. That's a tough one. Because I think Ayuk is worthless this year. He probably won't be ready till midseason. He was a head case even when he was playing before his injury. He's probably going to be more of a head case and be in his own head. Won't be fully healthy all year long. I guess if it's Dynasty, I'd rather have Ayuk just to trade him because I feel like he'd have a better long-term value to trade, but I want neither one of them. And if I had to, if I could win a bunch of cash money right now, I might take the gamble on Tyreek Hill just to win. But if you don't have, the best team, then I'd probably take Ayuk and then trade him. So it's a good question. And as for John's question, where do I want Tyreek Hill to go, or what would it take to get him out? I don't know what it would take. I have no idea what his trade value would be. Can't be much. It's not like a second rounder or anything. He's too old. So I don't know what his value would be. I would say that you put him. It's funny I have Denver circle right now. Denver would be interesting. But I think Buffalo.
A bunch of teams.
Yeah.
On paper.
Yeah. Buffalo would be a great attempt, but they just went and got Amari Cooper at an old age and he didn't land. I don't know that they're going to want to do that. Baltimore's very much in a one year at a time mentality because they're trying to just get over this hump, and they know that Derrick Henry doesn't have a lot of time left at all, so they're probably willing to look at that. And I think that's a great home for him, only because I don't know what we expect out of him anyway, and to be a part of a championship run, I think is what he wants. They're also, you could kind of look at Baltimore as a group of doubted players. They have that doubted mentality. Henry, Lamar's continuously doubted. I think that's where he'd love to go because he would feel at home there. I don't know, man. I'm looking around and I don't see any good fits in the AFC other than Buffalo, Denver, and Baltimore in terms of culture. Could I see him go back to KC? It's possible, but I don't think. I mean, at the cost, maybe. They would consider it if it was very cheap. And they'd have to take on contract. But I mean, I don't know. That money is not even the same money anymore. His contract now, he probably wanted an extension. But it would be some sort of, I think, revamped, upfront, structured, incentive-based, deal that it might shock us at first, but then we realize they're just converting stuff to upfront bonus, and and that's kind of how he gets his extension. And maybe there's some incentives in there that the team would gladly pay him if he hit him. So maybe like KC does, maybe Vegas, maybe.
If you were to go to one of those teams with like the 6'4" QBs, the ones that have like the massive arms, Ravens, Chiefs, Chargers, Bills, do you think he's going to climb like tremendously?
I mean, I think his ADP would climb into the mid-second easy. I don't know if I'd pay it though. I don't know what I'm looking at with Tyreek Hill anymore. I just think that, again, I've never drafted him over Kyron, Bucky, Hall, Josh Allen, JD5, and I just use those as like, there's other players I'd probably strongly consider over him. Those are players I know I'm 100% going to get almost every one of them after Tyreek Hill's ADP. So from a point of emphasis and just expressing how strongly I feel against drafting him at a high value, I'd take every one of those players over him every single time. And I think that if he goes to a quarterback that is a tall, drink of water, as you described, John, there's a better chance of him rebounding for one more year, sure. But I don't think we know. I mean, like, even Dallas, like, who knows? I mean, Jerry's weird. He acts like he's not going to spend a dime, and then all of a sudden he might do something. And what's Tyreek Hill's contract even? Like, and again, he's probably going to want an extension, though. But beggars can't be choosers if he wants out.
Do you think he's playing this like he did last time?
I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know if he...
Last time he didn't want to get traded. He just asked for it, and he was trying to put pressure on the Chiefs. Do you think he's trying to do that to the Dolphins?
I don't know. I think that he's requested, you can consider this not an official trade request because it could just be him trolling, but this is now the second time that Tyreek Hill is made some sort of stink about wanting to get out. In 2026, he's got a 51.8. His dead cap is not bad at all. I'm sorry. It is. Yeah, after this year, the dead cap. Yeah, it's bad. 56. Woo.
And there's an hour.
But when
don't want a contract.
Yeah, 56.
It's really appreciate it, man. Have a great day.
Later, John. Teams pay $56 million now in dead cap, though. Just to be clear, it used to be a no-no, but now teams do it. His dead cap next year is not bad at all. But yeah, that does make it tough. Now, teams can take on certain amounts of players, the hit and contract, but I don't think so. His base salary 29 in 2026, then he's an unrestricted free agent. He might even want to retire after 2026. So I don't think he necessarily, if he does, I think there's a way he could go to a team and sign an extension, and the extension doesn't even change the amount of years. It might give the team a friendly option the next year, but like it's more about just converting money to give him what he needs to guarantee. Like what turns into guaranteed money from this, amount of money. But it makes it tough to trade him. But the thing is, he wanted to be traded earlier, and pundits and talking heads like myself, none of us were sitting here going, oh, he can't get traded because of this dead cap. Like, we all know that teams can overlook this if the compensation's right. But then you got to ask yourself, are the Miami Dolphins willing to look at this kind of dead cap money when they can only get a fourth rounder for him or something? So they might have a high price tag to say, look, we're buying a draft pick essentially, and otherwise we're not trading him. So I don't know. It's tough to say, but John makes a good point that if he goes somewhere to play with Herbert, or he goes somewhere to play with Josh Allen, or he goes somewhere to play, let's go to the NFC, because I don't think there's as many options over here as I initially thought. He goes somewhere like, San Francisco. The thing is, they're rebuilding, and I don't know that they're trying to save right now, and they made comments about them wanting to like stop spending crazy. So I don't think it'll happen. I think it's not going to happen, but.
Could have to move by you, even if it was a different deal.
Yeah, then they might. But Green Bay, sure. Maybe Green Bay might even be the most likely option.
Yeah.
Overall.
Big.
Carolina could look to get Bryce Young some security. Cardinals have been interested. You know what the weird thing about the Cardinals is? The Cardinals always have almost every great player eventually on the Cardinals, and at half the time it's when they're washed. But the Cardinals having Tyreek Hill, it only seems fitting. They've had Emmitt Smith, they've had Adrian Peterson, they've had DeAndre Hopkins, they've had who am I? There's other huge names. They've had everybody.
Anquan Bolden.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like the like Hall of Famer type players. We have, they always come over to the Cardinals, but most of the time it's at the end of their career. Yeah, and I'm not talking about, we had Anquan Bolden from the beginning, but we always bring these guys. Emmitt Smith, Adrian Peterson. It's only fitting Tyreek Hill, AJ Green. That was it. AJ Green was the other one. Like we always, Kurt Warner. I mean, but he played well. Not all of them were at the end. But yeah, I mean, the Arizona Cardinals have had some of the biggest names in football come over to the Cardinals at some point. So Tyreek Hill going to the Cardinals wouldn't shock me. It really wouldn't. But anyway, I think Green Bay is probably the best option. Green Bay, Ravens, Denver, Buffalo. Carson Palmer.
Yep.
That's a good one, Aiden.
After the Texans in there?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I don't know that they'll do it, but yeah. All right, hang tight. Let me go over to the 310 caller. What's your name, 310? Where are you calling from?
What's up, man? Josh and Callie.
What's up? What's up, Josh? What can I do for you?
Man, well, I got a question about the Tyreek news, and then I got a Dynasty question I got buyer's remorse on. I'll shoot the first one.
Okay.
Jalen Waddle, where do you got him? Where would you pay for him if this news is confirmed?
Not where you probably want me to. Jalen Waddle reminds me, trying to think of another player that really fits the bill, of players that people want to love so bad, and the fan club is ginormous. And I think the reason they feel this way is because I think when a fan club of a player has been put on the back burner for so long, and they're just waiting, they're just itching for the player to become what they were expecting and have been waiting on it. So they're loud. The group is loud. But Jalen Waddle, he's good, but he's injury prone and he's a number 2. I'm not saying he doesn't have the makings like T. Higgins to go somewhere or stay put, and Tyreek goes somewhere and become a wide receiver 1, but I wouldn't bet I wouldn't bet the farm on it. I just think that he's a glorified wide receiver 2. Does he go up in value? Yeah, but it's going to go up so high that I'm going to want nothing to do with it. I barely want to draft him now. But Jalen Waddle, everyone seems to think he's this top 5 to 7 wide receiver, just waiting, and I just don't feel that way about him. I think he's a T. Higgins, which is great. That's a great wide receiver. But the problem is people have drafted Waddle as a second rounder for how many years now, bro? Last year he was the second rounder. The year before that he was a second rounder. Waddle hasn't come close to earning second round value. So I don't know. I think if Tyreek Hill got traded today, Waddle would be a second rounder. You know what excites me more than anything when we start talking about Waddle is if Waddle goes in round 2, even at the bottom, it's going to shove all the players that I love getting, Bucky, Kyron, Breece Hall, Josh Allen, JD5. All those guys are going to go down one draft slot, and I love that. So I'm all about Waddle climbing into the second round, but I would never draft him as my second drafted player. Just will not. Refuse to. I know it's probably not what you wanted to do.
My second question, I got buyer's remorse on a Dynasty trade I did. I just want to know how bad I did, in your opinion.
All right, let's do it.
I went and traded Brock Bowers for Kyle Pitts and Bucky. What do you think on that?
Bowers, is it tight end premium?
Yeah, quarter point. Not half point, quarter point.
Yeah, that's important to throw out there. It's a big, big difference. This is tough because depth, all that comes into play. If in a tight end so in a non-premium league, This is in a dynasty. This is a second rounder, maybe even top of the second round pick. Bucky is still a second rounder, but he probably ranks slightly below Bowers in a dynasty startup non-premium tight end league. So making it tight end premium puts him, Bowers, into the first round, even if it's the bottom of the first round. Let's just say Bucky stayed at late second round value, okay, or top of 3, whatever. It's, you know, you just got to ask yourself, how much do you believe in Kyle Pitts? If Kyle Pitts in a tight end premium can be a closer gap to Bowers than people are expecting, then you could crush this trade. But he is getting the best player in the deal. He is getting a first round pick. You have a second round pick, and Kyle Pitts is, I don't know what he is in a premium in terms of ADP, but you definitely gave up the best player. I don't know. I don't think this is a bad trade. I wouldn't have buyer's remorse on it. You're just going to be a big Kyle Pitts fan this year. And if Kyle Pitts, you know, has a...
Not going to ruin it.
Yeah, no. I could see myself... and Bleako's right. He says Pitts needs to step up. This is Pitts' final, you know, go. And quite honestly, he kind of deserves one more chance, to be honest, because he had nothing for a while, and finally he's got Penix Jr. Now, Penix Jr. was throwing the ball to him when he's dropping things, and he was not looking good, and we were about ready to write him off. But then he had that amazing touchdown catch from Penix Jr. where we're like, why did Penix throw it to him? Like, the guy wasn't catching anything, and Penix trusted him, threw it to him. So clearly there's some trust still there, and I don't know. I don't think this is bad. I find myself still drafting Pitts in a very like crafty way this year, waiting on tight end and coming in with Kyle Pitts and then grabbing like Evan Ingram and Kyle Pitts combo, which is one of my favorite late tight end duos, and then you kind of rotate it, whatever. But I mean, Bowers is a first rounder in tight end premium. I mean, I don't know. I like him. I like both sides. If that makes you feel better, I would be torn on this trade myself. I wouldn't say, oh no, hell no. I'd be torn on it, especially if I needed Bucky. It's not bad. I wouldn't have buyers or I would just understand that, like, you know, you're spreading the points out differently. So,
hold on. Well, thanks a lot, Smitty.
Yeah, no problem.
Quarter points that I have.
That's true. That's true. Quarter point is not the biggest deal. You're right. Travis makes a good point. All right, thank you, bro.
Thanks a lot, bro.
Yeah.
Huge fan of the show, man.
Yeah.
Keep going.
The show loves you back. Show's a fan back. All right. Yeah, that's a good trade. I mean, to break down, that's a close one. The guy on TV is a used car dealer. What guy on TV? BBQ? Falcons should have a good year, though, says Aiden. Yeah, they should. Someone on the TV... Oh, here. Someone on the TV said the Patriots are offering a second for Tyreek. I don't get how that would be happening right now. Well, I mean, you could really put anybody on your TV. You know what I mean? What's that mean? He's on the TV. Where is he on the TV? If he's on the TV, does that mean you're pulling him up on Rumble? We got to get back to Rumble, by the way. I really, my plan this year is to get the Rumble show going again. And the Dynasty channel. I gotta commit to that. I am working on making some of the back end things of what I do day in and day out here a little bit easier, streamlining some stuff, and then I'll have a little bit more time. But anyway, overcome 33-month membership question. Bryce Young, a top 10 QB with Hill. Borderline. I don't know that I'd put him in the top 10, but I could be like, maybe. I don't think I'd shoot it down. I don't think I wouldn't double stamp on it, but I definitely think it's possible. Yeah.
I don't know if you have time for a couple more callers. I saw King and someone else was at.
Who? Wait, what? Oh, for the phone line.
B and someone else had asked for the number, yeah.
Hey, BBQ, I don't know that I saw this one. I'm so sorry. $2 super chat. My Hill line is the FFL unemployment line. Oh, in the draft, your line for where you draw a line for drafting Hill. Yeah, definitely. All right, here's the phone line.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
man. Tyreek Hill. This will be crazy. I don't know. I don't think he could get a second rounder, but you never know. It doesn't make sense. That would be a lot to give for this guy, but maybe he gets a second. If he got a second rounder, I think the Dolphins would jump.
Early one, like a Patriots second rounder, I think that'd be crazy. Maybe someone at the back end of the
maybe
more realistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm convinced he wants another contract.
Yeah, Vader, you wanted the Patreon link? Here's the Patreon link, bro. Definitely get on over to the Patreon. I'll pin it in the live chat, but that's basically, the place to be throughout the entire season. 365, 24/7. Ask a question. I'll pin it right now. Ask a question on Patreon. It's 24/7, bro. Live chat. It's basically the YouTube live stream chat, just extended. So let me pin that. If it'll let me pin it. There you go. Join the Patreon. Patreon is only $10 a month. That's like a cup of coffee. You can cancel anytime. And just try it for $10 1 month and see if it's good enough to not cancel. Just get in there, ask questions, become a part of the community, and do it live. Kevin says Bucky and a 203 or HN and a 107. Let me add these calls. Hold on, guys. Okay, I've added a few of you to the phone line. We've got 901 caller. What's your name and where are you calling from, 901?
Hello, I'm from... Oh, my bad.
I got only one 901 caller, so only one person should be talking. Go 901.
Yeah, I'm the 901.
Okay.
It's Mike from Cali. Just wanted to quick, what's your thoughts on Malik Washington? His upgrade of Tyreek Hill. He was a pretty good college wide receiver, so just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Didn't Demarcus Robinson also go to Miami? Is that where he went? I forget who.
Did he?
Who signed? Who? Like maybe he went somewhere else. I'm forgetting where Demarcus Robinson went. Let me see their depth chart. They got Jalen. Oh, Westbrook Akine. I'm sorry. Where did Robinson go? DeMarcus? Florida.
He was he's a Niner. He's a Niner.
That's right.
Well, school. You were asking.
No. Yeah, no. Where did he get?
College. What is that?
So I would say
I knew he was.
Yeah, I know it. But as far as landing spot, he went to the Niners. That's right. Okay. So, bro, the depth chart, and this is ESPN. It's not the team. BBQ dropping 50 gifted memberships. You monster.
Mashed potatoes.
According to ESPN, and I don't really disagree, bro. Nick Westbrook Akine's the number 2, and Malik Washington's he's on the bench still. In terms of the if we're talking about who the third wide receiver is. So I don't know. I mean, I like the.
You think Nick is above him?
Well, I'm reading off the ESPN depth chart. I'm just telling you it's not officially from the team, but I think that majority of people would think that. I mean, Westbrook Akine's got a lot more experience than he does. I like him. I'm not saying Washington's not nice, but I mean, again, there's another player that people want to be good so bad for whatever, because there's a lot of people that own him in Dynasty. They're like even your reaction, you're like, you think Westbrook Akine is better? But clearly he's, people think that if he's listed on the depth chart higher, but again, that's not coming from the team. That's not through a bunch of work, off-season workouts. It's not Tyreek Hill leaving and finally seeing what's what. But yeah, I mean, Westbrook Akine might tower over him. He comes in with some pretty good experience. The guy's a touchdown, machine. He's got quickness, speed. I like Washington a lot, but he hasn't proven anything yet. But, good dynasty prospect.
Development.
I like him.
No one really succeeded.
Yeah, no one knows. There's no. I mean, look, Malik Washington had 223 yards. That's all he's done. I mean, that's decent that he's done something, but 223 yards, lost a fumble. He has 1 rushing touchdown, but no receiving touchdowns. Westbrook-Ikine listed as the number 3 over Washington. And if Tyreek left, he'd become the 2. And then Washington would become the 3, which is nice. But Westbrook-Ikine had 32 receptions last year and 9 touchdowns. I mean, he's just efficient, 6'2", 211. Feels like a very Miami Mike McDaniel type wide receiver. I think he could stretch the field. He could definitely play that Tyreek Hill role, like to a little bit of a degree, or stretch the field in a way that they haven't been able to in a while. I like Westbrook-Ikine. I've been drafting him in underdog at the end of a draft before I take Washington. So I do believe that Westbrook-Ikine. Yeah, but I mean,
I'm a Titans fan, so no, I love the guy.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that can't change. I'm not locking that in, cementing that in. I can't do that. I adjust and adapt, baby. I might see something I love tomorrow about Malik Washington, and that's okay. That doesn't mean I'm flip-flopping. It doesn't mean anyone out there should feel that way when you change directions. Part of my job is to make you guys okay with changing your mind. I think far too many people make you look like you're a flip-flopper, or you've got to stick to your guns, or, hey, you said in the preseason this was going to happen. Why are you changing your mind now? Like, part of my job is to make you guys adjust and adapt on a dime, because that's how you're going to thrive, the best. So, anything else, bro?
I guess one last thing. I got a trade offer I wanted to hear your thoughts on, if that's all right. If not, all good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so it was the 101 for Bucky Irvin and Devonta Smith. It's the reason it's tricky to me, at least, is because it's 3 questions.
Let's put some respect on it. It's Genty for D. Smith and Bucky, and then what'd you say was the thing that worried you? What?
Well, the tricky part to me is that we have 3 questions, so depth is a little bit more important in our league.
Who would be your player in your lineup if you didn't do this instead of the extra player that you're getting here?
So my wide receiver.
Just give me the one player. Just give me the one player. Who would be the guy starting in place of Devonta Smith if you had Genty?
Either Pickens or Olave.
That's still pretty good. So you're essentially, you're not trading for Pickens, but Pickens and Genty in your lineup over Devonta Smith and Bucky. As much as I love Bucky, dude, and I freaking love Bucky, I want Genty all day long. Sorry. But I could understand this. Can you get a little?
But that doesn't like generate that.
Are you have the 1.1? That's what you have now?
No, so it's the offer.
Okay.
I have Bucky and I have Devonta.
And this is out there right now for you to take.
Yeah, no, it's me and my buddies who did our
Can you, without having him withdraw it, can he add something just to make it a little bit like less? I mean, I don't want him to pull it though, because I'd take it. I'd take it if he's going to pull it, but I just didn't know if there's something else you can add. Sometimes I'll tell someone to take it, but at the end of the day, if you don't think he'll pull it, you can add something. Sometimes people come back to me and they're like, hey, I got him to throw in, I'm just trying to think like Evan Ingram, and you needed a tight end. Holy shit, like, how'd you do that? Or, hey, he threw in Penix Jr. Or, hey, I got Bigsby. And then all of a sudden, I'm just like, that's one of my favorite players to, like, does he have, like, Bigsby or any of the guys that we keep talking about?
He's kind of a rebuilding team, so I think it's going to be tough to grab those guys. He doesn't have the Bigsby, but I was thinking maybe of a counter with a second-round pick.
Yeah, that'd be enough for me. I mean, I'd do it without it, but I'm just telling you, don't make him run off. Take it if you think he'll withdraw it. It's a lot to give, but...
He sent the offer to me.
Yeah, but I'm saying... Yeah, so take it if you think he's the kind of guy that's going to pull it. If you say, can we add something? And he goes and asks a friend, and they're like, don't give up Genty. The bottom line for me is this. I want Genty over Bucky, and your lineup is, you have Olave and Pickens, essentially. You could trade those two together to get a better player than Devonta Smith. I look to do that before I would do anything else. So keep Genty, try and use Olave and Pickens to get one better wide receiver. Focus on that.
Got you. I appreciate the feedback.
All right, later, bro. 617 caller, you're live. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Josh, and I'm from Massachusetts.
What's up, Josh? What can I do for you, bro?
So I wanted to talk about the Tyreek Hill situation, and I also wanted to know your thoughts about Ayuk and if you think he's going to get traded, and what team would that be if he were to get traded, hypothetically.
Niner fan? Are you a Niner fan?
I'm a Patriots fan, but
Okay.
I heard some rumors about the Patriots might willing to acquire Ayuk.
Yeah.
And also I heard a rumor about the probably not. It's probably not going to happen. I heard some rumors about Hill to the Patriots.
Okay.
No.
If you got to the show on in the background, just mute it if you could, because I hear some like reverb or whatever. So first of all, Ayuk essentially can't be traded. It's not going to happen. Number one, he's got a torn. No, I'll tell you why. He's got a torn ACL. He's not going to be ready until midseason. So you're kind of burning yet another year in his contract, inching closer to him wanting an extension at some point in the semi-near future, because he's already burned 2 years on his new contract at that point. Number two, he's due $31 million tomorrow. Or no, Tuesday. He's due $31 million on Tuesday, bro. There's no way a team's going to take this kid. And once the Niners spend that money and they're committed to him, they're just going to hold him. There's very little chance that a team wants to pay his contract and take a player that's out until midseason. And not to mention, I wouldn't even want him. If I was a team, I wouldn't want him at all. I wouldn't want that contract, that head case with a player that had a devastating knee injury that's not even going to be ready till midseason, that struggled on the field mentally before he even tore his ACL. So I don't think there's a team in the world that would be willing to take on that contract. Again, he's almost untradeable given the contract, given the way the Niners structure their deals. And they, on April 1st, his 2026 contract is obligated to the Niners. His I think it's $4 or $5 million this year, and then added on this $27-ish million that for 2026 becomes guaranteed on Tuesday. There's a complicated deal, bro. It's just not going to happen.
What about the Tyreek thing? You think he's going to get traded, or you think he stays?
I think
he might be trolling. It feels like he's been doing that a lot.
Yeah, but even if he's trolling, it's a bad sign that he's toying with his own team. He's creating a bunch of controversy for his team. They're going to get tired of it, So I think they will explore trading him. I think that, if a team can give a second rounder, he'll be gone. I do think so. I think that could the Patriots look to bring in Hill with Diggs? I wouldn't say it's impossible, but as Travis said, that's quite the characters in the wide receiver room. Like Hill and Diggs are probably the most problematic locker room guys you could find. I don't know that, and Hill to some degree is like not that bad because he doesn't. I mean, I know he was in that off the field situation last year, but it really wasn't even like that big. Like it wasn't really his fault. It was complete. He's
police one.
Yeah, I mean, like people could argue both sides. Like he should have just listened instead of trying to create a problem. But at the same time, yeah. So at the same time, it was like there was definitely an abuse of power going on, but it was also like he was stirring the pot at the same time. There's people on both sides but that's not like him getting in trouble off the field. He was hold on, bro. It's not like he was out there drinking and driving or doing anything crazy. It was like it was a stupid incident. So he's pretty well behaved off the field, other than all the little things that happen. But he's kind of a locker room problem, and he's kind of a team problem, kind of a toxic person to the locker room, to the organization. He's always wanting to move, and he's always wanting to change, and he speaks his mind without thinking, which you could respect. But at some point, teams get tired of it, especially when they tell him to be quiet. He says he wants out. He says, "I'm out of here, deuces," the first time, and now he's back to throwing peace signs up on X, and it's gonna definitely cause some waves for Miami. So Miami's gonna be interested in sending him packing, but I don't know. It's tough to say if a team will give up a 2, bro.
Yeah, if like hypothetically Patriots offered a second, you think they would trade him in division? Like, do you think they'd be willing to do that?
I don't think teams are. I always think that's such a stupid way to look at things.
Second round.
I think it's really stupid to not you or your comment, but I think it's really stupid when people say, not you, but when people say that they'll never trade interdivision or teams shouldn't trade interdivision. If you're winning a trade, you're winning a trade. You know what I mean? Like in fan,
I've seen like people like say, you know, don't trade in division. Da 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 da.
That's what I said.
I'm like wondering, like, what's your standpoint?
Yeah, my standpoint is if you're worried about trading with a team in your division, you're losing the trade. So like in a fantasy league, if you're trading with someone that you face in fantasy, let's say they're in your division and you don't, only 2 people in your division make it to the playoffs, you'll trade with them. You're not going to not trade with them because they're in your division. You're hopefully taking advantage of them and leaving their team a little bit lesser than you found it. So yeah, it's moronic when people say they won't trade interdivision. It's stupid. It happens all the time. It doesn't happen as frequently, but I don't think you can even create, find correlation to that or causation to that. What?
I was saying that's true. I was thinking because like last year with the Bills in the draft, we tried to trade up for Worthy, and the Bills the same offer, the same package, and they decided to go with the Chiefs. We all know how that turned out. And it's like I'm just like I was wondering because like is there like a stigma or something? My other question would be, this is another report that I saw that Kyle Pitts might be on the trade block. And I saw that the Patriots wanted to get him, but I saw that the Atlanta Falcons.
It sounds to me.
Do you think Kyle Pitts is at risk of getting moved or no?
I don't know. It sounds to me like you're listening to a lot of like Patriots, blogs and local stuff that are just trying to like, cook up stuff. I don't think Kyle Pitts is on the move. Could he get traded? Sure, but like these are all hypothetical. People should Kyle Pitts. He could go get Kyle Pitts, and then all of a sudden, all your Patriot pages everywhere posting everything. There's nothing out there.
That was from back in the middle of March, and I've seen a few people retweeting it for some reason this past week, like local accounts and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think just because we're getting draft, people are starting to just throw stuff up there. Hypotheticals.
The problem is how people report on hearing that. So like some Twitter, some Patriot. Hold on one second. Some Patriots Twitter page will say something like, "Hey, we this would be good," and then somebody takes it and says, Patriots are interested in Pitts, and it's like then everybody. It's like that's the way smoke season is people are very irresponsible with how they word things, but I don't think that's likely. I don't think the Falcons are interested in moving their offensive pieces right now. But I would say the Patriots are, and to your other point about like, do teams is there a stigma against trading in a division? The answer is yes. I mean, teams feel this way sometimes, and people feel this way. I'm saying it's stupid. I'm not saying that a team hasn't said, hey, we're not trading interdivision. I'm not trying to define what the entire world's doing or the entire NFL or all the teams are thinking about interdivision trades. I'm merely telling you it's stupid, that you shouldn't worry about trading interdivision. If you're winning the trade, you're winning the trade. You're making that team lesser by trading with them. It's like putting a Trojan horse. Like the Cardinals or the Niners, if they're trading Debo, they should have traded him to the Seahawks or the Rams or the Cardinals if they thought Debo wasn't worth the amount of money they're paying him and that he had enough left in the tank. They should target, like, I'm not saying the NFL does. I'm not saying people think like me. I'm saying they should be specifically targeting inside their division, because if they think Debo's washed, they're putting a Trojan horse in the house of the teams they need to fail the most. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that everybody doesn't think like that. I'm just saying I don't. I think it's ridiculous. Last question, bro.
Our last question is, how do you think the draft is going to play out? And I know this is like not like fantasy, but like, how do you think that's going to play out? And do you think there's going to be any top 4 picks that are going to be moved?
All right. Listen offline. Appreciate you, bro, asking the questions. How do I think the draft's going to play out? It's a loaded question. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be wild. If I had to give you a couple big, predictions, I would say, a couple guys fall that we didn't think would fall. I don't know who they'd be. Ted McMillan could be one of them, with the given news around Ted McMillan, which I'll be either live on or have a video on later today. Genty could go to a team, not for sure, but could go to a team that isn't even in the top 10, like Denver, that trades up. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen. I don't really know. I don't want to pretend to know how the draft's going to go because it never goes how you think it's going to go. I will tell you this with almost a certainty: someone's fantasy value is going to get kicked right in the nutsack. That always happens, whether it's going to be Chuba Hubbard or Breece Hall or Achane or Tank Bigsby and ETN, or the Giants take Genty and now Tyrone Tracy's out of a job. Like, something's going to happen. You know, CeeDee Lamb's going to have Ted McMillan on his team, and people are going to overreact. And that one I wouldn't, but they'll overreact about it. You know, something like that could happen. A player could get traded like Kenneth Walker on draft day. Who the hell knows? It's going to be exciting. I don't know how it's going to play out. As far as the top 4, I do feel like there's a 50% chance there's a trade within the top 4, but it also feels like these teams are kind of solidifying their spots a little more each day than I thought. But I don't know. The Patriots are capable of moving. This is the one draft I think they probably won't, but you never know. The Giants are feeling pretty comfortable with I think that 3 pick, because they may go Shedeur still, and that's good enough to like let them fall there. And Cleveland, I don't think Cleveland's interested in moving because they have 2 very good selections in Hunter or Carter there, but maybe they get scared and they say, let's move down. And I don't know. Tennessee's really enamored with Ward. So maybe the trade that happens is in the 5 to 10 range. I don't know. Tough to say.
You think the Titans are taking Ward, right? Yeah, I'm pretty confident.
90%. 90%. And then
I see, I mean, it's not like a ton of people, but I see like a solid handful of people in the chat a lot of the time, like, convinced the Titans are trading that type away still. I don't know if that's just a mention.
Yeah.
Like, the Titans are so tight right now.
Yeah. And Cleveland seems to be really scared of messing up their QB decisions going forward, given that Watson's still on contract, you know, and I don't think they're going Shedeur. And Shedeur's dropping in value enough to where, like, now we're even worried that the Giants might not take him because of the perception of Shedeur. But Shedeur's kind of trying to repair that. I hope Shedeur goes number 3 to the Giants. I hope Russell Wilson and Winston don't have a thing to do with that decision. I'm hoping the Giants are smart enough to know that.
That's sad that it's crazy that the Giants have done such a bad job that it could actually be legitimate that perception of the league is what people think of the pick. Couldn't take any guy, even if they like.
Yeah, that's what happens when you don't know what you're doing.
The guy, don't worry about.
Well, to the Giants' credit, they did think that about Danny Dimes, and they took him above everybody's advice. They grabbed him so early in the draft, and everybody's like, Daniel Jones. Wait a minute, remember that draft? What pick did he go? Ziggy, what draft selection was Daniel Jones in the NFL draft?
Sportskeeda.com. Daniel Jones was the 6th overall pick in the 2019 NFL draft and was selected by the New York Giants.
Ziggy, read off the top quarterbacks drafted in order in the 2019 NFL draft. I don't think
Sure.
Yeah, you're worthless. Let's go over to the real man of the hour. Let's go over to the Krugmeister. Kruger, list off the quarterbacks in order of how they were selected in the 2019 NFL draft. Let's go to the real man.
Right, let's break down the 2019 NFL draft quarterbacks. First off the board was Kyler Murray to the Arizona Cardinals at number 1 overall. Then we had Daniel Jones going to the New York Giants at number 6. After that, Dwayne Haskins was picked up by Washington at number 15.
Okay.
Those were the big 3 in the first round.
Oh, I guess you can't blame them they didn't really get it all that wrong in terms of the quarterback they selected, but maybe you should have passed on a QB. But yeah, Daniel Jones. What was the? Let's see if he can. Hold on, let me see if I can. Hey Kruger, can you continue on and list all the quarterbacks after that and at what pick they were selected? Kruger, can you continue from there and list the quarterbacks in the second and third and fourth round? Just go in order and tell us what round they went, and go in consecutive order in the 2019 draft for quarterback selections.
Sure, Smitty. Let's break it down. In the 2019 NFL Draft, after Kyler Murray went first overall, here's the order for the quarterbacks who went in the second, third, and fourth rounds. In the second round, Drew Lock was picked by the Denver Broncos at the 42nd overall spot. In the third round, the Carolina Panthers selected Will Grier at 100th overall.
Horrible.
In the fourth...
Sorry, keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Is he missing anybody?
No worries. In the fourth round, the New England Patriots picked Jarrett Stidham at 133rd overall. These were the main quarterbacks taken in those rounds.
Is he missing somebody? I feel like. Is he missing somebody though? I just feel like in 2019 when Daniel Jones was selected, there was a clear better quarterback, but there wasn't. There's nobody that core. I guess it felt like Haskins was gonna be, and that's what it was, but he wasn't any better.
I'm looking at him.
All right. Well, anyway, regardless, the Giants clearly went well and above where his ADP. Like Daniel Jones, some thought was like a second rounder. So, but different GM and all that. I was just kind of playing on that. $2 holler from.
Good point.
Yeah. What do you think? The breakdown of Diggs' contract. I mean, it's still a lot of money, but it is essentially a 1-year deal. So it's not, again, it doesn't really change anything. And this is what we talked about kind of on the main live stream, is that even though it's looked at as, okay, it's really that first year upfront money, it's still quite a bit of money. It just comes down to, do you think Diggs can earn, that $20-ish million that you're paying him this year, or could have been allocated better, used somewhere else? It's just gonna butt heads on that topic. Yeah. It's just whether you think that if the Patriots, like Travis's thought process is, they still can do all the other things they wanted to do, whereas my thought process is more along the lines of, I believe they're probably going to say enough's enough on spending here, and they could have used that on a piece that gave them 2 or 3 years of value at another position. But that's just me. But Diggs, it all comes down to Diggs' rehab. It all comes down to Diggs' mindset. Is he going to be a locker room cancer? Will he be calm in his final years? Will he be able to give May the development that's worth paying $18 million to 20 whatever million dollars he ends up getting in incentives? Is it worth paying him to help progress May? Because it's not like you're going to win a championship this year. So it's like you're spending a bunch of money to train Drake May. If you believe that that's worth it, you believe that that's worth it. If you think you could help Drake May in other ways by getting a 2 or 3 year value player at that $20-something million contract, then draft Ted McMillan or draft Egbuka, and then have a young wide receiver room in Polk and the receivers that you have there, and then have Ted McMillan or Egbuka with that other piece that you spent $20 million on. I personally think that was the better road to travel, but it's well, no one will know until it all plays out.
I think they could draft a wide receiver, early. I'm not sure if they could go like tackle 4 or something like that.
Yeah, BBQ says Denny's the reporter on TV talking about the Patriots. Denny would be great as a reporter.
Right.
An on-scene like storm chaser. A storm chaser. It's like, we're on scene over here with the tornado. It's right behind me. If I don't make it back, tell Smitty I can zip it. All right, Travis. Who else is on the phone line? That's just you. Any final thoughts?
He's in the chat. I'm trade for him. So he's in a super flex. He has a 1.01 already, and he can trade Tua to get the 1.03, which he would take in Ward with. If he can get Jersey and Ward, would you trade Tua for the 1.03?
I'd rather have Ward over Tua by 100,000 miles.
I figured that, but
Probably rather have Shedeur.
already.
I'd rather have Shedeur than Tua.
Okay, that's good to know.
And
what about Dart? You draw the line at Shedeur?
I think Dart or Milrow over Tua makes sense in Dynasty. Depends on where they go.
The 1.05 and 1.11. If you could, finagle something else in the trade, just get options.
Yeah.
You'd do it then.
Yeah, definitely. All right. See you later, bro. Probably be live on the Ted McMillan show, or I'll do the upload, or we'll have another piece of breaking news here. Today feels like a day that we're going to be live again, but we'll see. Tired. Right, later, bro. Tyreek. Wasting our time. Wasting our time today, maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Kevin, I never answered this question. HN and the 107. I don't know what these 203 and 107. You're talking about a 203rd pick? Like, Kevin, the context here, I have no context. Like, is that 203rd pick in like a 2-man keeper and that's a vet pick? Is that a rookie only? Like, I don't know. All I know is 107 and 203 are so far down, I don't even care about those. At the end of the day, I guess I want HN over Bucky by a hair, but I love both of them. I want both of them. My answer is both. Go get them both. Go do it live. See you all later. Appreciate you. Don't forget to get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com. It's my year-round bold predictions, rankings, trade calculators website. Do it live. Hit the link. Here it is right here. Subscribe and get your year-round content. You have I have a lifetime membership, so you only pay once and never pay for fantasy football, dynasty, and redrafts. 365, 24/7 content. Rankings are always updated. The rookies are already in the rankings in top 200. I don't wait until landing spots. It's a 365-day-a-year site. Your boy got into the industry in 2002/2003 because no trade calculator existed. And I searched the ends of the earth, and that's why I got into the industry, is to invent the first trade calculator of its kind. They had some like dominators you download like a software, and you enter your entire team and your scoring and everybody else's team. It took forever, and then it would come up with like trade suggestions on like a trade chart. And I sat there in 2002/2003. Internet was barely invented. It was like 1996, 97 is when, you could even get on ESPN and it go, and the image would load. So in 2002, 2003, I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's no trade calculator. There's no instant based trade calculator. There's no way to click on, and back then it was like Priest Holmes versus Tomlinson. And you wanted to say equal trade, Tomlinson by a hair, or you're trading Terry Allen for whatever back then. And it would say, he's worth 5 ham sandwiches more than him. Like, I had funny phrases in it and everything. But anyway, I've been cultivating this calculator since then, and it can't be beat. You can do a 5-for-1 trade. You can do a 10-for-1 trade, because essentially what it's doing is using auction dollar values to assess the trade. So yeah, you can trick it in the sense that you're stacking all this money, but you'd understand that, based on it being an auction dollar value. So, if you keep that in mind, you could even build a $200 team on both sides of the trade calculator and use that as an assessment. You can even use it as a lineup assessment in a sense. It is like, use the redraft version of it, and there's a dynasty version, and say like, is my lineup better if I make this trade, and throw a player that's in your lineup in the trade to see what side's better when at the end of the day. You can use it in 100 different ways. You can add players, multiple players. Bold predictions are there, super flex rankings, all that. Check it out. And don't forget the Patreon. That link is pinned in the live chat right now. It's also, both of these links are in the description of the video. $10 a month, cancel anytime. Try it out. It's a cup of coffee. It's basically the YouTube live stream chat over here, extended 24/7, 365. I live in there. I'm going to be frequenting it more often, and we do live audio streams in there. I'll be doing tons of those. Link in description, link pinned in the live chat. See you all in a little bit. I'm sure we'll be live a little later today. If not, you'll get at least a Ted McMillan video today.
He's BTJ. you gonna do? He's BTJ. He's gonna put it on you. He's BTJ. Gonna have a good game. He's BTJ. Your mama screams his name. BTJ is going to put it on you. There's not a single thing that you can do. BTJ is going to put it on you. There's not a single thing that you can do.